to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast, the most listened to daily Miami Dolphins podcast on the internet.
Miami's got the Dolphins, the greatest of all.
Come on, Dolphins fans. Time to fins up.
We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl. Cause we're the Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one. Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one.
Good evening, Miami Dolphins fans. How are you today? And thank you for listening to the Dolphins Talk Matchup Show here at DolphinsTalk.com. I am your host, Michael Leva, joined as I am each and every week by Robert Burns. Robert, how you doing today?
We won one game a week ago. We won another game this past week. We win one more. That's called a winning streak.
I said that line this week.
Before.
Yeah, I said that line earlier this week. I don't know if anyone picked up on where it's from. You clearly know it's from the movie Major League, and it was a great scene. But yes, I did say that. And look,
I feel great. I feel like we're on a two-game win streak, beating the teams that we should. It feels like 2023 all over again.
Yeah, and I think this week's going to be par for the course. Don't want to give away any spoilers here. I think it should be par for the course. And then next week, things, as they say, business picks up when we have a short week on the road in the cold snow and the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field against the Green Bay Packers. But before we get to that, we got to get to this game. And before we get to this game, we got to get to a quick word from our sponsor.
The DolphinsTalk.com podcast network is sponsored by Caneswear. Caneswear is the place to go for officially licensed apparel for the Miami Dolphins, Miami Heat, the Hurricanes, Florida Panthers, and all of the professional and college teams in South Florida. Looking for the latest jersey, a birthday gift, or the newest hat to hit the market of your favorite South Florida team? Check out Caneswear for their overwhelming selection of sports apparel. Located at 2655 South University Drive, Davie, Florida, Caneswear has it all. Not in South Florida? No worries. Visit Caneswear.com to shop their inventory from the comfort of your home, and they'll ship it to you. International fans, too. Caneswear.com is the spot that Miami fans shop. That's Caneswear.com, Caneswear.com.
And before we get to this game, I just want to remind everyone a couple things right after this show later tonight. Here, if you're watching live on YouTube, Same Old Dolphins Show with Josh and Aaron. Check them out. And if you're not a member of Dolphins Talk Extra, go to patreon.com/Dolphins Talk. We got bonus podcasts, not just on the Dolphins. I do a weekly show on college football. We do shows about food, TVs, movies. We have fun. There's a private message board. We play games. We have prizes, all that good stuff. So check out patreon.com/Dolphins Talk. It's like $3 a month. It's not that much money. All right. Dolphins, Raiders. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. It was, they took care of business. I thought the offense played probably their best game all year. Granted, the Raiders, but efficient, long drives, converted, scored in the red zone, scored touchdowns. Jonnu Smith involved. It was awesome all the way around. Other side of the ball, can't stop Brock Bowers. But you know what? We don't have to face him again, so I'm not worried about that too much. Overall, a solid performance.
Yeah, I agree. I think they went out there. They handled their business. To me, a little slow getting started. It was probably, it took them a little bit to get really the gears going. But once they did, they felt comfortable. They rounded right back into shape, and really glad to see the defense kind of play the way that they did. And again, to see Jonnu Smith, who seems to be that missing link, what Mike Gesicki couldn't be, could open up the field a little bit more, outran people until they got to the 5-yard line, and they caught up real fast. But I think that, seeing him get there and cracking 100 yards, for me, made a big deal, everybody. If you listened to last week's Bold and Bull, 101 yards, Mike, is a receiver over 100 yards. And I fought to get the tight end in there. So thank you, Jonnu Smith. Thank you, Dolphins. And let's do it again for another week.
Yeah. Just keep on, beating the teams you're supposed to beat, and to be at 4-6, where we were like a month ago. I don't know how it's going to end, but at least they're playing meaningful games heading into the holidays, and we'll see how it goes. Some news heading into this game. Mike McDaniel said he's pessimistic that Kendall Fuller will play this week, which makes sense because you got a short week versus a very good team on the road coming up. If they can hold him out this week, be extra cautious. Maybe he can play versus the Packers. Maybe not, but maybe he can. We'll see then. And then Alec Ingold is going to be a game time decision. So we'll find out there what happens there. And I think they need him back because the running game, it's still been good, but when he's out there, it's clearly better.
Yeah.
No Bradley Chubb, no Isaiah Wynn this week. So nothing's really changed there. But
I don't think this is a game where they need to rush either one of these guys out there. I think that even without Ingold, without Isaiah Wynn, Chubb we know is going to be out a little longer of a period. Without those guys, I think they still have a very good chance of beating this New England Patriots team. Heck, I'm even of the thinking right now you could probably let Armstead sit this week and rest that knee a little bit, play Patrick Paul, and still be fine. Because you're going to need these players in a cold Green Bay on Thanksgiving Day when everyone is going to be watching. The last thing you need is for someone to go down against New England the week before. I think that, with Ingold, you're right. The run game is better. I think the past couple of games he has not been there. They have not surpassed 100 yards for an individual rusher. 4 weeks before that, 100 yards each week. So clearly he plays a big role in the running game. But again, I don't know if you need to rush him back this week.
No, I wouldn't. I think, plus, I got to be honest, Storm Duck played fine. Gator Kohu did one horrible tackle miss, but okay, outside that was fine. Cam Smith
that was a bad look, though. That was a bad look.
It was a bad look. But, Cam Smith was hardly on the field. I'd actually like to see him a little bit more just to find out. I know this isn't the time to do that stuff, but if Kendall Fuller's not ready, I think we can survive the Patriots, who have no wide receivers at all. Once again, sorry not to be a spoiler. No wide receivers. I'm not worried about the Patriots. So let's get into the head-to-head matchup. We got quarterback with Tua, who's playing like one of the better quarterbacks in the league, and a rookie who's got a lot of promise. I mean, he's not bad. He just has no help around him, no blocking, no wide receivers. Kind of reminds me of Tua his rookie year, but I digress. Drake May and Tua.
Yeah, the obvious pick is going to be Tua. And you're right, though, with Drake May. He has been playing really well, close to 70% completion rating, completion percentage, rather. A lot of his passes, though, because you hit the nail on the head, they have no wide receivers. A lot of his passes are to the flats, to the running backs coming out of the backfield, short passes. I mean, this is a passing offense that is dead last in the NFL with just 166 yards per game. So he is Drake May playing well for a rookie, getting a lot of praise, making smart decisions. And the thing with him, though, and you got to remember this, I already said Tua was the better quarterback. Drake May is going to be the better runner of the two because we don't want Tua running at all. But if the Dolphins have had any problems, they might be able to find themselves giving up a couple of stray first downs here and there because of May's legs. So that's something to watch out this week for Dolphins fans. When you're watching, you say, damn it, Rob, you were right. The kid ran for a first down. And it's probably going to happen, but it's not going to break the game. It's not going to be Josh Allen running for 26 yards for a touchdown.
Yep. Running backs for Miami is pretty much Achane and Wright at this point. Raheem Mostert not doing much of anything except for like one play here, one play there. And for the Patriots, Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson. Here's the deal. Last time these two teams played, those guys together averaged like 9 yards a carry. So I think Miami's group is better, but you can't just totally overlook the Patriots here because they gashed Miami the last time these teams played.
Yeah, no, Miami's group, I think, is better because Achane is just playing out of his mind. And Raheem Mostert has the ability to play much better than he has been playing. Jaylen Wright, obviously, somebody they're trying to work in a little bit more as well. But you mentioned Ramondre Stevenson. He is a beast. He is going to handle the lion's share just like he did the last time that the New England Patriots went ahead and played Miami almost as close as you could play them because the running game kept them in the game for the most part. I think you mentioned what he did last time. They went for 7.4 yards per carry was Stevenson. And Gibson had 6 carries for 52 yards, which is 8.7 yard average. So they can gash you. The running game, the running defense rather, doesn't necessarily hold back up the way they have been the past couple of weeks. You could see some big runs from these backs because they have the potential. But I still think Miami's running backs are more dynamic overall, and so that's where I go with the pick.
Yeah, I agree. Now the next one, probably the biggest mismatch out of all of them: wide receivers and tight ends. Dolphins, Hill, Waddle.
I mean, can we just do wide
Smith.
Receivers and special teams right now and just get it over with? Like,
Yeah, let's just get out
these
of the way.
are going to be
Wide
clear
receiver.
runaways. Wide receivers goes to Miami for 100% sure.
Yep. You want to do special teams right now too?
Special teams goes to New England. 100% sure. God, you didn't see that one coming. Not a clean sweep.
No, and it probably will never be because Miami special teams. Jason, well, here's the deal. Last week we didn't punt, but
Didn't have to kick the ball.
I don't trust our coordinator and I don't trust our punter, so the edge will go to New England. Offensive line. Kendall Fuller did an admirable job at right tackle, holding down Max Crosby with some help. Rest of the line played well. Kendall Lamb. That's what I meant when I say Kendall Fuller. Too many Kendalls. Kendall Lamb, yes. And the rest of the line continued to play well. And then we got the Patriots, who I think Drake May's been sacked 17 times in 7 games. Yeah. And even that last game we saw, Miami was in the backfield pretty much the entire game against the Patriots.
Yeah, New England's got a couple of players on their offensive line, mainly their left tackle and their right guards, whose names I'm going to butcher if I say them. So just watch on TV and look at left tackle, right guard, and know that those are probably 2 of the better players that they have on their offensive line. But I think Miami's offensive line, sans Austin Jackson, played fine. We had the better Eichenberg of the 2 in the game last week against the Raiders. I think that, not necessarily giving up too many big plays to the pass rush. Run blocking very well for Miami didn't get a lot of holes, but they're sticking to the run and they are pushing guys around. And so that's what you like to see. If they can get Isaiah Wynn back in the next couple of weeks, I think that really helps them. Earlier this week, I think the coaches said that Patrick Paul is working on learning both left and right tackle now at this point. And so that's good for him. They are going to need some more versatility out there because you can't just be a Liam Eichenberg as the only guy that can play every position. And I think Paul at least has to be able to help the 2. But I think having the rest of your starters out there helps. So Miami's offensive line is going to be able to push these defensive line around.
I agree. Front 7 on defense, Zach Sealer, Calais Campbell have been wrecking havoc.
That's all you need.
Chop Robinson's been in the backfield a lot, even if there's not sacks. And Anthony Walker has been an upgrade over David Long, a middle linebacker. And for the Patriots, I don't know.
Devin Godchow?
They got nothing.
I guess. Yeah, that'd be the guy that they have. I mean, here's their leading tackler, Jelani Tavai. He's a pretty good inside linebacker out there. But other than that, these are guys that are on a bunch of other teams any other year, somewhere on a depth chart. They've got rid of most of their guys, and we talked about this during the first game of the year. They got rid of a lot of their guys in the offseason, shipped them out, one to Atlanta. Name slips me right now. The better player that they had, Matthew Judon. Yep, yeah. Shipped him out already. So again, another guy we don't have to worry about at this point. So not a lot of threat coming in their front 7, and honestly, not a lot of threat coming out of their secondary either. Christian Gonzalez is pretty good, but that's it. They have some players, but again, if you're going to pick one of the other Miami's players, even without Kendall Fuller again for this week, still I'm going to take Miami's because you have Jalen Ramsey and you have a healthy Javon Holland, who when he's in the game, the team plays better. He may not play the best. The team plays better when he is in the game. That's all I can say about him.
And even with the handicap that is known as Jordan Poyer, I still give Miami the edge because he'll make more plays for the other team than his own. But, once again, outside of Christian Gonzalez, the Patriots really got nothing. This is a team just void of talent right now. But they do have a young quarterback, but it's going to take them a year or 2 more to put pieces around him on both sides of the ball, really. And they're just look, it's year 1 of a rebuild. They know it. Mm-hmm. It's just they're a long ways away. And for Miami in this quote-unquote must-win game, a quote-unquote de facto playoff game, because if they lose, they're pretty much screwed. You would like to think they're going to put their foot on the gas and keep it there and be laser-focused coming in this game. My prediction was my same prediction as last week, because this is the same type of game as last week for the same type of opponent. Miami 30, Patriots 10.
I was going to say Miami 27-10. Somehow think of this, Mike. Just a couple of weeks ago, Miami's defense couldn't stop a leaky faucet. Somehow they're 9th in the NFL in total defense right now. And that is a huge testament to having Zach Sealer back and to getting those guys back in and healthy and being able to stop some players. 9th in the NFL again. We're back into the single digits. I didn't think that earlier in the year when they were getting just run over in Seattle and watching players run around with Arizona, and I didn't think that they were able to climb back up there, but they did so far, and that is what's really helped Miami the past couple of weeks too, is having the defense shore up. If Tua had to go out there and win 27, 26 games every week, we might not be sitting here right now talking about this.
Yeah, I agree. These long drives they're helping keep him safe because and
they're keeping the defense fresh. That's the thing.
Keeping the defense fresh. That's the other thing. We have a question in the chat. Where's Tyndale?
Yep.
Can we at least see him play? Well, one, he's not a safety, so you can't put him in for Poyer. Two, he did make a play versus the Rams. I know it's one play. I think it was on special teams, though, maybe, if I remember.
He's mainly
correctly.
a special teams player at this
point. That's all he is. He's just not a very good linebacker. I mean, look, he was a pick at, the end of round 3, which is really the first part of round 4 in those compensatory pick areas. Is what it is. Didn't work out.
And there's guys out there who make a career out of being special teams players, just like there's guys out there who make a career out of being just long snappers. And that may just be something that he is, Armando. Just maybe he's one of those guys who spends 2 or 3 years here, 3 or 4 years there as just a special teams guy and a backup linebacker in case you need. And that might be his career at this point.
Yeah, and it's fine. And also, our long snapper, Blake Ferguson, not back yet either. Yep. I would think maybe next week. Otherwise,
you may not. If you don't punt, you don't need them.
Well, there's that, but they do need to have someone on the roster ready to go. I know you're just joking, but no, because the guy they picked up, they put him on the practice squad, and they keep calling him up, and you can only do that so many times, and this week is the max time because they did that with one other guy. If they don't call him up, if he doesn't return next week, they have to pick up someone else. It's a whole thing. So something to keep an eye on. Okay, before we get to the games aspect of the end of the show, a quick word from our sponsor, Mellow Seltzer. I'm holding up right there. It is Mellow Seltzer, the seltzer that is taking America by storm. Mellow THC Seltzer comes in wild berry, grapefruit, strawberry, mango, and half lemonade and iced tea. We got a mix. Here's the strawberry and mango I'm holding up if you're watching, as well as this is wild berry right here, right there. It's a mix of madness, genius, and a pinch of chaos to bring you the best sips in the universe. With 5 milligrams of THC in this drink, Mellow is revolutionizing the way you unwind. Each sip is designed to gently lift your spirits and ground your senses. Go to mellowseltzer.com for information on how and where to purchase.
I want to try that grapefruit one, actually. Here's the thing. I'm a guy who likes Squirt, the soda.
My father loves Squirt. Loves it. And he can't find it. It's tough to find. It is tougher to find.
They got it down here in South Florida. But give me some Squirt and a Fresca. Happy guy for the weekend.
My father, my whole life,
80-year-old man.
Squirt. When I was a kid, Squirt. I used to love Squirt. It's, oh my God, he talks up here where I live, where you can find it, but it's a challenge. Wegmans, I don't even think carries it. You got to go to Tops or something usually.
Yeah, Tops or Target, they have it, but a little citrus drink, refreshing.
Yeah. All right, so Bold Bull, you were 4-2 last week. Bring you up.
Thanks, John Smith.
Pretty much. Take you up to 23-31 on the year. Still 8 games under, but you're making progress because you've been 10 games under for the longest time. So here's a 6-pack. Let's see how you do. The Dolphins defense sacks Drake May 3 or more times.
Have they had 3 or more sacks in any game this year?
This would be the one because the Patriots offensive line is, like I said,
this would be
17 times. He's been sacked 17 times in 7 games.
And I'll take the flyer. I'll say bold. I think that they will get him down on the ground 3 times because he's a rookie with happy feet. And that's the only reason why.
Yep. Devon Achane has over 80 yards rushing.
Oh, I think that's bold. I'm going to say bold. And I'm going to say that with a question mark because I kind of want to see what he did. He didn't play against the last time.
He got the concussion the first play of the game,
concussion,
I think.
Yeah. So he didn't really play in that game. So 80 yards.
They're
rushing,
going to him a lot.
And he's been pretty close to it just about the past couple of weeks. So I say bold. I think he gets it this week.
I gave you this one last week. I'm going to give it to you again. Tua throws for more than 275 yards. That seems to be the area he's in. I can't go 300.
Yeah, you're almost Vegas
because that's too high.
You're really good.
I can't go 250. That's too low. 275 is a sweet spot.
275. You know what I say? I take it. I say bold. This has to be. This has to be a get right game for those wide receivers. Like it's going to get a lot tougher from here on out. And you are seeing targets to Tyreek. You are seeing chances going to Jaylen. You are seeing Tua spread the ball out a little bit more, which again, nice to see. Odell Beckham holding on to the ball. Jonnu Smith getting 100 yards. New stuff for us. But I would still like to see those receivers get right. So I'm going to be optimistic and say bold. He goes over 275. But now I'm getting concerned I have too many bolds in a row.
No.
It's almost like a Christmas tree in this.
Not that you need my information because you don't. I agree with what you said on the first three because I think this is going to be a very lopsided game. I think this is going to be a breakout game for the Dolphins. I don't know if you have a breakout game when you're 4-6, but they're going to go off is my point because I think the Patriots are really bad. I think the Patriots, they're just playing out the string, and Miami needs this. And they're at home, and they've won 2 in a row, and I think they just have a lot of confidence. And I think if there's a game where this offense just goes off, which we haven't seen since 2023, I don't mean 8-9, these long drives where they hold the ball for 8-9 minutes. I mean a game where they go off, put up 30, 34, 40 points. This is it because they ain't going to be versus the Packers. It won't even be versus the Jets, even though they're a mess. It won't be Houston. This is the game if it's going to happen, and I think it will. So I agree with you so far. Don't be nervous.
No, and Wesley on giving my history in these Bolden Bulls.
Based on our picks at the end of the show. Be nervous.
So Wesley on Facebook, perfect trap game is what he's saying this is. I don't think this is the trap game. I think if they were going to lose to New England, it was the first game. That was when they were most vulnerable and primed to lose. It was on the road. You had Tyler Huntley out there. You actually lost the game, but thanks to the luck of the gods, you were able to turn it around. So I don't see this as the trap game. I see if they're going to lose a game, it might be one of those stupid Jets games that they're going to play. That may just be the game that they wake up on, and that's the game that knocks Miami out. So I don't think New England has enough talent to, at this point, with this healthier roster as Miami has, beat them in their own house. It would have happened a couple of weeks ago in New England.
Yeah. And Storm Duck, someone in our chat's asking if he went to college at North Carolina. He did go to college at North Carolina. I forgot that. So Storm Duck did play. Now, he wasn't there his whole time. He started off in North Carolina, and then he went to Louisville. So Storm Duck, though, did play with Drake May, as we were asked that in the chat.
Secret weapon. Now, if Storm Duck gets an interception this week, that should be one of the Bull versus Bulls.
I hope the Dolphins. Yeah, I hope the Dolphins have something ready because whenever he does get his first interception at Hard Rock, there ought to be a bunch of quacks going on. You know what I mean? They got to have some sort of a gimmick going. They're usually not
pass out rubber duckies or something. Just throw them out. Something.
All right, 3 more. Drake May has more than 25 yards rushing. Now, I looked this up this past 3 or 4 games. He's in the 20s every week. So he's got 260 yards rushing and 1 rushing touchdown. He makes plays with his legs. And I'm almost being cruel this one because 25 is probably, once again,
25 seems low. I'm pulling up the Hard Rock Bet app right now. I want to see.
Yeah, because I didn't even look at that.
No, Drake May's over-under is 25.5. What did you say, 25? Man,
25.
You are.
A job. Why are they hiring me?
You are on the money, friend. 25.5. I go over. I think he's got happy feet. I think once he gets out of the pocket, he can get some yards. And that seems to be the route that he's going. So I go over bold. He has more than 25 yards rushing for a quarterback.
Okay. Once again, I agree with that too. Jonnu Smith has 50 or more yards receiving. So you got to be a 51 to 1 if you go.
And the only reason he really broke 100 last week is because he had 70 on one play. Yeah. Other than that, he really had 30 yards. So I think that I'm going to go bull. He does not have 50 yards. I think that New England is going to try and contain him while getting beat by the other receivers. And it's funny, we play this game, and I always try and think of how this is a story to me. I already said this earlier in the game, so I feel like I have to say this. This actually makes sense for me. I think that Jonnu Smith probably gets in the 40s. He's going to be a threat that they have, but I think Tyreek and Jaylen and Odell and River Craycraft, I think those guys are going to be able to get some separation on these defensive backs and safeties.
Yep. Last one. Jaylen Waddle catches 4 or more passes. Now he's had a quiet season.
Mm-hmm.
Is he due for a game?
He's due for a game, but I don't know if it's this game. And I want to see his targets. Two receptions on 3 targets, 3 catches on 6 targets, 2 for 2, 4 for 6. I'm going bull. He's not getting 4 receptions on this one because he doesn't do it so far this year. This may not be his breakout game.
This is where I would go the opposite way. Here's why. Jonnu Smith is getting all the headlines. He's on Pat McAfee. Jonnu Smith.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be an overcorrection. Everyone's going to be focused on Hill and Jonnu Smith and Achane, and Waddle's going to have favorable matchups one-on-one versus a cornerback nobody's heard of. And I think this is the week. I might be wrong. This is the week where Waddle goes 7 for 120 and a touchdown. That's my prediction.
And I hope if he gets in the end zone, do the damn dance.
And then shoot to Mr. Ross doing the bad Waddle, where it's like he's pumping oil or something.
Yeah, he's making sure he doesn't lose balance on those hips. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
You just
hips
bend
don't
the
lie.
torso.
Hips don't lie. Okay, locks and upsets. I am just done miserable this season. Right now on the locks, you are 4-5. I'm 2-6-1. On the upsets, you're even better there. 7-2. I'm 5-4. So we got to get to these. I haven't even looked really.
So I'll give you one here, and I don't love it because I saw the weather in Chicago earlier this morning, and I hate the way that looks. But I think that the Vikings can go into Minnesota, and it's Vikings by 3.5. I think they win by a touchdown. So there's my lock is Minnesota minus 3.5 on the road. Chicago's just,
I think
since the Hail Mary, Chicago is just they're just showing up.
Here's the thing for Chicago. Matt Eberflus is a moron, and I think the next head coach is walking into a great situation, but I think he's a moron and he's a dead man walking, and whoever they hire next is going to walk into a very talented team. I think he has royally screwed it up. So I kind of like that one as well because the Bears, they got something there, and he's a good quarterback. He's just a rookie. People get too over the top the way they talk about rookies. That team is good. It's just Minnesota's been sensational this year. They really have. And I think Brian Flores is playing himself into a head coaching job. Another conversation. Did you see the clip I put up today of Ryan Fitzpatrick?
Yes, I saw the clip of Ryan Fitzpatrick. His hair.
Unbelievable.
Threw me off.
Brian Flores, for those who missed it, it's up on my social
media. Are you
media.
surprised by this, though? He looks like the kind of guy who would do this.
So each week or each month, whatever, there's a weigh-in, and if you're overweight, you get fined. For Ryan Fitzpatrick at his spot and his age and everything was 229. He comes in at 229.8. Brian Flores fined him $800. Ryan Fitzpatrick called him an a-hole. He went to the union. He appealed it and he won. And Ryan Fitzpatrick was like, really? 0.8 pounds. You're going to fine me $800. He even telling the story, you could tell he was pissed.
Shave the beard off and the hair, 0.8 pounds are gone.
Yeah, I know. But that's the stuff where your head coach is like, gotta work with your players. That's an older veteran who's your quarterback. He's been around forever. Really, the $800 is going to matter. I mean, come on, dude. And that's the stuff the next owner is going to ask him about. What have you learned? And he's going to list about 15 things. How do you treat Tua? This Ryan Fitzpatrick story. This, that, and the other. It's like he's going to have to answer for. But now I'm totally off on a tangent. I thought he would never get like another job, but he's been so good this year with that team. And I think there's going to be an owner who's going to be like, I'll roll the dice. And there's been a lot of talk might be the Jets. It could be the Jets because the Jets are not going to get a big name coach. You're going to have to roll the dice on someone with some baggage. Who's got more baggage than him?
And
here's the thing. Who's the other name?
No, John Gruden's not going. John Gruden's not. He's going to stay with Barstool. He's not going back to the NFL. But if you think about it, Flores is a defensive guy. What are the Jets?
New York guy from the Bronx.
New York guy from the Bronx. What do the Jets have an abundance of? Defensive players that can play. And if they want to try and keep Hassan Reddick, you try and get a defensive coach in there who can get the guy to play to his potential. So I don't think it's the craziest idea, but think about
I don't either.
Brian Flores again, pushing buttons with the quarterback you have, where if you tick him off, you have to play the quarterback you don't want.
Yeah,
the
I
time.
mean,
Like
and,
his options were very limited. He was picking fights with whoever was in front of him.
And he probably saw it happen with Tom Brady, but that's 1 in a million Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And Bill Belichick, you're not Bill Belichick, and you didn't have Tom Brady, so that wasn't going to work. And here's why I think the Jets one will work. Who did he sue Flores? The Giants, who the Jets hate, and the Dolphins, who the Jets hate. And if you got a head coach who the one team you share a stadium with that you really don't like too much, and one of your main rivals, your head coach is hates them both. So that's why I think the Jets actually is a good fit. My lock, look, I've been so bad with the locks. I'm just going to roll the dice here. Kansas City coming off a loss.
There you go.
I'm going to lay the 10.5 against Carolina. Someone's got to pay.
So many
and
points.
Pat Mahomes, the poor Panthers are going to pay. I know they're at home. Kansas City coming off a loss. You don't get that often. It's 10 points, which you don't love. I'm taking it.
Bryce Young's been playing better since he's been benched and then came back. That's why, to me, 10 points is a little bit much, but it is Kansas City. They can very easily bottle them up and win by 15 points, in Carolina and go home happy as can be. So I think that switching over to the upsets, there's 2 games in the 4 o'clock window that I see as tempting.
Oh, don't pick the same one I want.
If it's a team on the okay, I know which one you're going with. I'm going to take Seattle +1.
Oh, I have Arizona +1 on DraftKings.
Oh,
but
okay.
Here's the deal. Since we got 2 different spreads and we each want the opposite side, let's go head-to-head. Let's go head-to-head.
I'll take it. Give me Seattle +1 at home against Carolina. Yeah. Arizona's probably going to win that game. And as they should. But if it's a field goal game, the 12th man can come in. And I'm looking at ESPN right now. So this is probably ESPN bet where they get their spread.
Well, I'm on DraftKings right now, which look, it's pretty much a pick 'em game, so we're good either way.
At this point it is. So give me Seattle.
Yeah. I actually like Arizona a lot this year. I think Murray gets a lot of crap, some of it well deserved. He's been sensational this year. They have run the ball. James Conner's been sensational this year. Mm-hmm. They run the ball. They have a smart young head coach. He gets no attention, but he's smart. He's young, talented guy. And they're okay on the other side of the ball. Not great on defense, but good enough. Seattle won last week against San Francisco. That's more to do with San Francisco, in my opinion, at least. But yeah, I mean, that's first off, the West is wild. All those teams. Who knows who's going to?
This is going to be another one of those. The NFC West winner is going to be 9 and 8 or whatever it is now, and get a home playoff game.
Yeah, and I could see any one of those teams winning that division, honestly. But I think Arizona is sneaky, and I think they're a year or so away from being really, really good. They got a lot there to build on. But yeah, so that'll be an interesting game. So those are the picks for this week. Those are the bold and pulls. We should win this game. Let's hope. And then next week, 5-6. Dolphins fans' hopes and expectations will be through the moon. We go to Lambeau Field. They've already said it's going to be cold.
Yep.
It's going to be wet. Yep. And Dolphins fans, are just ready to get their hopes and dreams crushed again. But I don't know. The Packers have been good. They haven't been great.
I don't trust them. I don't trust
them either.
And I think that Miami has figured out if they can get Alec Ingold back out there,
and they can run the ball.
And that's all you need to do.
I think we'll be a live underdog in that game. We'll be a live dog Thanksgiving night because – and here's the other thing with the Dolphins. I think they're sick and tired of hearing they can't beat anybody good. They can't win road games. They can't win in the cold.
They're not tough.
Look, it was just – they're soft. There was a couple weeks ago they almost won in Orchard Park. Like, they could have won that game. They didn't, but, it's not like they got blown out. I think they're looking for a game like that to make a statement. And as long as they don't stub their toe this week, God, that would be horrible. If they don't stub their toe this week, I think that Packers game, we're going to have a lot to talk about next week and lead up to that game. Obviously, we won't be on Thursday next week. We're going to move the show around. We'll figure it out as the week goes on to get you ready. But, Robert, thank you. Be sure to follow Robert Burns on Twitter at Robert Burns TV. Follow me at Dolphins Talk. Check out the website, DolphinsTalk.com, Patreon.com/Dolphins Talk. Sign up. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of stuff. about the Dolphins, extra stuff, and some non-Miami Dolphins stuff to keep it loose and light and fun. And also coming up here soon in the next hour or so, if you're watching live on YouTube, same old Dolphins show with Josh and Aaron the Brain, who did the opposite of you, moved from South Florida up to upstate New York. So you guys were passing in the night. Yep.
Enjoy it, boys.
Everyone, thank you for listening. We'll talk to you again after a while. And folks, don't forget, we must put an end to highway profanity.